Golly, 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 God, let me grab my coffee. I know. It could use just a smidge of auto-tune. I'm aware. I'm aware. Guys, I'm still wearing the same turtleneck from yesterday and the day before. Don't judge me. Okay? Okay, I get it. But today we're going to build a full stack application or more of a full stack feature. I want to show you guys kind of my build flow and workflow. And I'm going to do it for a small scale application. So I'm going to have kind of 3 versions of this, I think, across time. This is going to be the first version of it. It's going to be for smaller scale applications. And then I'll kind of have like an intermediate level version where maybe we integrate some authentication. We'll use an external source for the database on that version. And then obviously on the more large scale version, the large scale feature, will use AWS or some sort of cloud provider. But this is going to be a fun full stack just application. All you need is just your laptop, VS Code, and a good attitude. So let's get in it. Alrighty, guys. So let me take all this stuff off the screen. This is what we're going to be building: is a fitness report application. And I wanted to talk game plan and a little bit bird's eye structure on how this is going to work. And again, I want to give enough value and knowledge where it's like, okay, this is how a full stack feature can be put together. So step 1, let's just talk systems, bird's eye plan real quick. And then from there, we'll break down our strategies. And this will be episode 1. Episode 2, we'll roll into the code. So if you've got a good understanding of kind of bird's eye application views and stuff, you can go ahead and roll to episode 2. But I think there's going to be a lot of knowledge here for you. So step 1, we want to build our front end, and we are going to use Next.js for the tech stack. And this front end, of course, it's going to break it down into, we're going to have our multiple things. We're going to have our components. We're going to have maybe some like utility functions, utils, functions, and these 2 things are going to build up our pages basically. So we'll basically have, from my understanding, we're going to have 2 pages. We're going to have a fitness report page, I think, maybe 3 pages. So we'll have a list of fitness reports that you could click on, and then we'll have the fitness report page. That'll be the page that once you click on the list, you can go to it. And then we'll also have an intake form page where you can submit data for these reports. So we'll kind of build those out. We'll have some more stuff. I just wanted to show you guys this code block, because we'll have like a store. We'll have even tests, I imagine. But this little square right here is just going to represent all that stuff. So that's going to be our front end kind of repository. The second thing we want to do is integrate TanStack query or Axios, one of the 2. I do like TanStack. I'm not the best with it with mutations. With querying data, it's brilliant. It's super brilliant. So, but with the mutations and stuff, we might use Axios. So it might be an and there. And let's kind of talk strategy of how this is going to work. So let me what's going to be easier? Do I tell you the tech stack first, or do I tell you the strategy as I explain the tech stack? Yeah, I guess I'll kind of do both at the same time. So we're going to use the front end here. Like I said, we'll build out our components. And those components are going to fetch or use some sort of API to reach our API layer. This API layer is going to have a bit of code that lets the web server know what to do. And this is all going to point at a Prisma, which is going to point at our database. And we could use Prisma for an ORM. We could use Drizzle. We could also just not. Like we could just point directly from the API layer to the database. We don't need an ORM necessarily. I just like to use an ORM because it does kind of 3 things at once. So I'll explain that in a moment. But this is going to be our bird's eye systems structure for this kind of smaller scale report application, this fitness report application. So there's a few things we need to do. Let's kind of talk to-do list, right? One is, well, let me first of all, first thing we need to do is make this text bigger. Golly. So to-do list, we have to build some front end stuff, right? So we need to build some sort of UI UX. So step 1, we need to build some sort of UI UX. And we'll use AI for that. It won't be too convoluted of a process. And then we'll obviously roll into front-end features. So these are going to be just front-end features that aren't useful with data, but they'll be useful for the front end and be ready to use data. So we need those. We'll need to validate the inputs. So we'll need to validate, for instance, when we have a reporting input to build these fitness reports. Not only are we going to need our APIs and all this stuff, bird's eye view, but we're going to do some key just things that tighten it up. So this will be probably using Zod or some sort of validation. We can even build our own validations if we want. And yeah, that's kind of the larger stuff. But I want to show the just cleaning up the things that I think are even just like, the chef's kiss of things. So we want to add refetching on our APIs as well. So what that means, you guys may have used Axios, and if you haven't yet, if this all sounds like jibber jab to you, don't even worry about it. We're going to cover all of it. But you might have used Axios before, but we want to integrate some refetching because in a perfect world, obviously on our local machine, the API is probably going to work every time. Like very first fetch, it's always going to work. But sometimes in reality, you need 2 or 3 fetches, maybe even 4 sometimes, just to get the API through. Sometimes you have some error stuff. So we want to handle this in a kind of robust build way. So I do want to integrate that and show you guys how to do that. So that's kind of, but that's our step 1 of stuff is front end things, right? So I'll say front end things. So refetching on APIs, kind of integrate the APIs, build some sort of UI, UX, all that stuff. And then we need to do the API layer things. So we'll put that here. If my mouse would go there. So I'll say API / backend things, backend tings. My buddy Joseph would love that. Love backend tings. But the API backend tings that we want to do are going to be building our CRUD operations, right? So we need something to create the report, read the report, so we could query it to the front end. We need maybe some sort of updating and deletion. Actually, we could probably not do the last 2 because we may not want to update or delete the reports. We might just want to keep them as reports, maybe. But I guess part of this tutorial we'll do a little update and deletion as well. So let's kind of do that. So we need some handler that does that. We also need some sort of something to point at Prisma. So that'll be instantiating our Prisma client. And we'll go over all this. It's not going to be overly convoluted, hopefully. And finally, the third thing, right, is build out our Prisma models. So these things kind of go together. The database and Prisma goes together. If you wanted to scale the system up a little bit, I want to talk about this for a sec. Actually, let's talk about the Prisma models, and then I'll talk about what we could do to make this more of a scalable solution. But okay, so step 3. Let's if I can get into this again one more time. Boom. So step 3, build out our Prisma models, or not really Prisma models, but our data models for the fitness report. So what I mean by that is let's talk data models as a whole. If I wanted to build a to-do list application, we're going to need to build out the data model. So this is just our type, our contract, basically. And this will be, let's see. So if I wanted to build to-dos, we need an array, right? We need to say, okay, here's an array of data, and our to-dos exist in this array, and the each to-do is one of these objects, and these objects, they each have an ID. It might have a to-do name, right? Go study. It might have a feature called to-do completion, right? True, false, maybe. True, false, boom. And then that would be one of our to-dos, would be this. I know it kind of looks funky because we're not in code right now and it's all centered text, but that would kind of make up one of our to-dos here. If I could maybe tab it in. Nope. Looks like I can't do just one of those. Boom. Okay, that'll work. So this would be kind of one of the shape of our to-dos, right? If we wanted more to-dos, we would just add more data here. That would basically show another to-do. So we could have to-do ID number 2. The point I'm trying to make is maybe go gym. Love that. But the point I'm trying to make is we have a model here. We have a data model. So the model that we would have would be like basically the type that we'd have, right? So the type of a to-do would equal something like this. We'd have an ID that would be string. And then we'd have to do, I realized I had the casing wrong, to do name, which would also be a string. And then we'd have to do completion, which would, not completion, but this would be a Boolean. So that would be our type if we wanted to build a contract for a to-do. So that's what we need to do for our fitness report, is basically not build the data necessarily. Well, maybe we'll dummy up some data, but we definitely do need to build a contract for it, some sort of type safety. And that's what we're going to do with Prisma. This is going to do three things with Prisma. We could build our contract, basically, and we could build our, why is the tabbing getting all weird on me? It's getting all wonky, folks. All right, let's get that. Boom, build our contract. We need to connect our DB through Prisma. In Prisma, we'll do all of these things and then also define our models. So Prisma kind of does this in the same step, defining the contract and building the models. We kind of get two birds in one stone, or three birds in one stone, if you will, for defining our data shape, connecting to the DB, and then we can use Prisma, the data shape, as type safety. So it's a really, really powerful system. But bird's eye view, I just wanted to give you guys a quick glance of what we're going to try to tackle and what we're going to build. And hopefully we do it in a reasonable amount of time. And as mentioned, the fourth thing that we wanted to do, so as I kind of prefaced all this, was this is like the smaller scale version. If we want to make this large scale, or larger scale, or medium scale, I should say, if we want to go large scale, we need to go to AWS, obviously. But if we want to scale this slightly, the things we would need to do then is put, and I don't know if we're going to do that in this tutorial quite yet. I haven't decided, just depending on how long this will be. But we would need to build an auth wall. So we would need authentication, and then we would need to swap out our database for some sort of scalable solution. So instead of SQLite, we would need something else. So that would be our only way to scale this, I suppose. So that would be the two adds to get this to kind of a actually functioning application, and then obviously deploying it all on something. So deploy on something, whether it's an Amplify or Cell, something like that. So that would be how to scale it, but we're not going to do that quite yet. Let's just kind of build this thing through and through, and I think that'll be a really fruitful bit of knowledge, to be honest. So this is going to be our game plan, at least for now. The fourth step, not totally sure. I don't know if I want to save that for another tutorial series for y'all. But I just wanted to give you guys the short on how to do it if you wanted to do it personally. So let's try to tackle this together. I hope to do it in a reasonable and robust and concise way for y'all. But this is our game plan. I will see you on episode 2.